Hola guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roxanne. If it's your first time here, then welcome. Today I want to share with you guys some books that I felt were very heartwarming when I read them. I haven't really read in the past sort of Christmassy reads, not a lot of them, not enough to make a sort of Christmas reads recommendations video, but I felt like around this time a lot of us maybe want to read something that's heartwarming, that really touches you and just makes you feel really nice around this time, even if they're not Christmas themed, or maybe don't even so much takes place during Christmas. The themes that they deal with and the characters that you get to read about are really lovely and heartwarming, and so I thought that I would make a list of some of my favorites, mostly from this year, that I thought I would share with you guys. So the first is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. This is the most recent Jane Austen that I've read, and it's about the lovely Fanny Price, who is probably one of the dearest characters that I've read about. It's someone who is both very innocent but also has agency and comes into her own, and she is brought in to live with her aunt and uncle as a way for them to sort of feel like they're helping out her mother economically, so sort of by taking on the burden of Fanny Price into their own household. And it's just about her life in this house where she's not really appreciated as she should, but she overcomes that and she stays such a lovely person, and I loved Fanny as a character. I couldn't wait to constantly go back to reading more of her, and I loved it very much, and I recommend it if you haven't read it yet. Another is The Library of Lost and Found by Phaedra Patrick. This is a book about a young library assistant who comes to the library one day and finds a mysterious package that has been left specifically for her, that takes her sort of on a whirlwind ride where she's trying to find out more about her background, her family, everything that she sort of thought she knew about them might be turned upside down, but through it all she really comes into her own and decides what it is that she wants to do, and finally begins to speak up for herself. And I just loved it so much. I felt so much for her. I loved her and her character and the little town that we're dealing with, and I just loved the idea of this sort of librarian coming into her own and really finding the courage to speak up, and yeah, it was great. Then we have these next two are these three are really gonna be very bookish because of course. The next is How to Find Love in a Bookshop by Veronica Henry, and I read this one maybe about 2 years ago, something like that, and it's just a really sweet novel about a woman who inherits a bookstore that her father had since she was a baby, and he passes and she's left with it, and it's about her learning how to manage the bookstore and everything that reminds her of her father and that life that he had, and it's about learning more about him, learning more about herself, learning how to manage a bookstore, and then finding love in this new world that she's really learning to love itself. And it was great. It was very sweet, and I loved it. Then we have one of my favorite reads of the year. It is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. This is a story about a very persnickety, sort of grumpy bookshop owner who's very set in his ways, and has no desire to change whatsoever. And then one day his world is kind of turned upside down when a mysterious package is left in his bookstore, and from his home his most prized possession goes missing. So those two things sort of happen at the same time, and so it's about him trying to figure out what happened, who took this thing from him, who left this other package for him. It's about learning to grow, about learning to love again. It's about accepting that life can change you and that you don't have to always be so set in your ways, to learning to be more open-hearted and open-minded. And it's about rediscovering love, and it is just told in the most precious way. And yeah, I mean, it left me in tears. I absolutely adored it. Then we have 3 sort of graphic novel and comic things. The first is The Prince and the Dressmaker. I read this last year, I believe, and it won my like cutest read of the year. And it's about this prince who enjoys dressing up as in these elaborate, beautiful dresses, and sort of has this other persona to him. And it's about the friend that he makes in the dressmaker, who both keeps his secret and also makes him the dresses that he's always wanted to wear. And it's about their friendship and their caring for each other and them learning their own truths. And it's about just living your truth, and about the being supportive of those around you and loving those around you just for who they are. And the art style is just really beautiful. It's everything about this story is so utterly sweet. And I mean, I think it's great for really any time of the year. And then we have 2 that show just the really quiet, beautiful times in relationships and in sort of the love that you and a partner have. And this is a male-female love, but of course these are little moments that can be shared with anybody who loves anybody. And I just love them. You have probably seen hers on Instagram a lot. This is Katana Comics, and they're just really, really sweet and kind of just simple and cute, but they just make me think about my relationship with Lewis and all of the cute, silly things that we do. And Soppy is probably my favorite of these types of little comics. I mean, like, look at that. That's just so it's so adorable. And then these are this just red, white, and black. And I mean, I love them. Look at that. These are just super sweet. And so yeah, I love them. I love all of these. There's something to be learned from them, something to be celebrated in every single one of these, which is really just loving someone and learning to live your own truth and your own self. And I think that's a great idea to be great things to be reminded of as we get ready for a new year, and sort of try and start anew, which a lot of us try to do at the beginning of a new year, especially if the last one hasn't been as good as we want it to be. So maybe those are some good reads to sort of get you in that mindset or get you out of a stink, you know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have read any of these and enjoyed them as much as I have, please let me know. If you have some recommendations of yourself, then leave them in the comments down below as well. As always, thank you for watching and for listening. I love you guys very much.